This is a second part to the channeled message that I had when I was doing my little walk today because I wanted to capture something that had kind of come across my path as I started to channel for you guys. And as I put my phone down here, in the little creek that's behind me, there was a mother duck and her ducklings that were swimming by, and I took a video of them, so I'll post it here as I'm chatting. But I wanted to share that even if things feel like they are, so you're swimming upstream, it feels more challenging right now, like you're going against the current of what is normal, that is an opportunity for you to really bloom where you're planted. Even though, like, we kind of shed the anxiety with the last message I said, there's this real, like, divine alignment and rest and ease of whatever it is that you are opening the portal to. And specifically, portal feels most important for me to say. Doorway, it's like you've been on the precipice of walking through it for so long, but now you know that it is the time to walk through it, that you deserve to be able to walk through it, even if it seems like it doesn't make sense, right? Maybe it's hard to make it make sense to other people. Why would you do that when the world is the way that it is? But you are frankly living on an adjacent but different timeline. Your path is different. Your message is different. You are meant to be a leader rather than somebody that's just simply a follower, even if it's to people that are only one or two steps ahead of where you are or where you've been at this point in your journey. There were three little ducklings behind the mom, and just following her and trusting her guidance and trusting her lead, and being able to enjoy and nourish themselves along the way. And before we know it, we'll blink and they'll be the same size as their mom. It's like growing so rapidly, and your people growing so rapidly, because we really need everyone to rise to the occasion. Also, within that same, like, abundance timeline, that expansive timeline, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, as I said in my last message, I wanted to go deeper on this aspect of being prepared. And I think that there's a huge capacity for us to really think of how we can really be our own best advocates, really prepare ourselves for whatever comes our way. I'm talking like water, food storage, extra resources that will really appease any kind of OG survival instincts that we may have. I think that there's a huge need for that right now. Just within the collective of people that I talk to, just being really aware of your environment and your surroundings and any energy that feels really oppressive during this time. I was channeling the word oppressive as I was walking out the door and actually driving here, where it feels like there's people that are right on your heels, like an action movie, that feel like they're going to try to run you off the road or usurp your energy or cut you off in traffic. And you're really sensing this agitation around you, and knowing that you deserve to live in a place of peace and abundance. You don't need to live in that rushed sort of life, no matter if you live in the most busiest corners of New York City. Even, there's a huge opportunity for you to feel that, be in it, have it surround you, but be able to call in peace, in a peaceful scenery, peaceful scenario like I'm in right now, and not have to feel like it's going to be, oh, you're not, how do I word this, if I just kind of connect, like, there's no need to be exactly like the people that are around you at any given time, nor are you supposed to, right? I know that my collective is kind of the underdog of their community in some way, shape, or form. And you're hyper alert, you've had to be hyper alert and kind of blend in for too long. And you know that in blending in for too long, that hasn't really allowed you to expand your wings and be the full spectrum of you, right? Be the full spectrum of yourself, be the biggest, brightest, boldest, baddest, beautiful version of you that you could be. And so it's almost like your environment has clipped your wings a bit. It's very like angelic, but it's also giving like, I knew I had wings, but I only thought where I was a bird, where really I'm a dove, or really I can be an angel. And it's interesting because the last time that I was walking back through here, there was actually a bald eagle that was chasing, it was either a blue heron or an osprey, like through the woods here. And so I just feel called to mention that too, if that's any kind of like iconography that's been important for you to pay attention to. Just finding other opportunities for you to be grounded and rooted in something that you believe in during this time, really finding a framework that feels good for you, I feel called to say to my people, and just feeling like that you've got you at the end of the day, and whatever resources you need to protect yourself, your family, your loved ones, your community, whatever that looks like for you, your chosen family. Now is the time to really, create the casting call for the resources, the people, the places and things that you need, because that's going to be really important for you to hold on to. It's going to create a great amount of grounding, and letting people surprise you. Maybe it's people from the past that you've connected with again that you forgot about, just because maybe my ADHD people that are here, out of sight, out of mind, my ADHD, like neurodivergent crew. There's nothing wrong with you for having been that way, but there's just an opportunity for you to let people surprise you and how kind they could be. As you go out into the universe, really playing it like a game, life like a game, and saying, well, who can come across my path today? Who am I going to meet as I go out into the world today? And really figure out what is the best way for you to connect with those people. What's the red thread that ties you all together? Really allowing yourself, also, if there's any kind of like religious ties that you feel connected to or that you need to clip at this time. I keep picturing like the red thread, which I believe is from Buddhism. I'll have to insert more information about it here, or you could do your own little Googling rabbit hole that I'll send you down. I'm sure I'm giving all of you a lot of things to respond to. I know I am, but just, really looking at what are the things that you've heard about. I just had it in my new moon circle today where we were talking about the book The Mountain Is You. And one of the women that's in our Patreon, beautiful Deanna, said that she had it ready to go at the library, maybe going to the library. There's also a huge aspect that I wanted to mention too. This reminds me of that, about nostalgia and feeling nostalgic. And something that I've been practicing that you also may find helpful is just watching one show or one episode of a TV show at a time. Maybe there's things that you can do to write on your summer bucket list, or foods that you used to eat during the summer, or as a child, summer camp activities that you used to do, things that just felt fun, going out and swimming in the creek, going down the rope swing, going to, the county fair, getting those foods, getting that nourishment. There's an element of just knowing that childlike joy can exist simultaneously to adult real world problems, because it's all under the same spectrum of just being a human and what it means to be alive during this time. And that two things can exist simultaneously. There can be things that happen that are incredibly painful, but we also deserve to be able to enjoy and celebrate where we are at this moment in time without things having to be perfect. I think that there's a lot of people in my community that really feel the imposter syndrome, is what I felt, just like word vomit to say, channel to say, but also the imperfections in the world, and being really sensitive to them, and knowing that instead of hyper focusing on how everybody else can change or should change, it's more so about blooming where you're planted and showing and leading by example. It's not about feeling like you have to force or strong arm or yell at people or figure out how to contort your words or contort yourself to fit into a way that you have to have them understand you, but rather just being the ripple effect of change in your corner of the world. As I have like the babbling brook behind me. There was also a childhood book that I used to read that was about like this creek, that looks similar. I have to see if I can find it. But yeah, just like a lot of childhood iconography, childhood TV shows, Little Bear, going back to a time where things were simpler, but with the knowledge of the 21st century. And that there is a really beautiful way that I think, especially is for my millennial crew, that you can weave those two things together, and really knowing that instead of being a guinea pig to all of the new, you really get to be a great straddle or bridge between both worlds, where two things can happen simultaneously. Two truths or two things can be true at the same time, is also something that I've been called to share. And really paying attention to nurturing that, whatever that looks like for you. Allowing yourself to just stop in the middle of the day, take 3 deep breaths. For me and my fiance, we had gone outside with a cup of coffee at 3 o'clock this afternoon, just to get our little bit of vitamin D and, a little serotonin boost, and noticing that, like, where are you going so fast because you're trying to keep up with somebody else's pace that isn't even actually yours. You're aware of what people are trying to tell you, what they're trying to tell you to do, but it doesn't really feel like what's aligned for you. And you know that in your heart of hearts, but for whatever reason, it's been hard for you to trust that. Maybe because other people have told you that you are wrong, or other people have told you that you shouldn't believe in the things that you're believing in, or there's a lot of shame or guilt or doubt for whatever reason, but you don't exist in that world anymore. You don't exist in that same place that they do. So why listen to people who are following a different map? They're not meant to follow the same directions as you. That's super important during this time. I keep seeing like a map laid out on a table and figuring out your battle strategy. Like, what is your strategy going to be? And strategy is such a huge word for me personally, professionally, but also just feels really inclined for me to share that with you as well. For like, what is the strategy that you're following? What needs to be executed properly? And how can you plan twice as much as you act? It's like, I wrote down the plan, I refined it, and then I acted. There's a surgeon saying, and I don't know if anyone is in like doctors or maybe traditional Chinese medicine that's watching this, but it's like a surgeon's philosophy is like learn one, uh, do one, teach one. And so it's like you've learned it once, you've taught it to somebody else, or you've done it yourself. Now you're teaching it to somebody else. Maybe there's a lot of you that want to be teachers, people who are teachers that want to leave teaching, people who were nurses that want to leave that field because they don't feel supported and maybe want to still be in a healing modality, but it's going to look a little bit different. That can also apply to you too. Again, always take what resonates and leave the rest. But I think that there's a huge opportunity for you to, again, leave behind what's been comfortable. Look at the red thread. A lot of what I say all the time is it was the right idea for your soul's journey and your soul's path, but usually just a little bit more so of the wrong execution. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. You did what you thought was best for that version of you, but now you've gone beyond to a much more exciting place, a much more aligned place that is where you're meant to be. But you couldn't have gotten to that place. You couldn't have been ready to be at that place without having gone through the things that you've gone through up until this point. So there should be no shame, only lightness and experience and years of wisdom for you to apply to whatever your roadmap is, to whatever your strategy is, to really launch you forward in a much better and brighter way. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next message. Have a beautiful rest of your day.